Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies, and today we are reviewing a movie, another full moon movie, and this is called Arcade, and it came out in 1993, and I have actually seen it before, but a long time ago.
You ready for the story?
I suppose, but we should talk about who's in it.
Oh.
Just wanted to mention a few people. Seth Green is in it. He's really young and he has lots of hair.
He's in it for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, he's not in it for very long. And the two main characters, Megan Ward, she's the main actress.
She's the one from Trancers 2 who said, "Oh my God, it's you. You're the only man I've ever had sex with." That's her. If you guys are wondering.
But she actually does a lot better job acting in this movie than she did in the other.
She's the beefy nacho cheese taco from the Trancers 2 Taco Bell meal. You have to choose. Safi. Choose.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Choose.
And also, the boy is the main boy, guy, whatever, is, what's his first name? It's the same boy. His last name is Billingsley.
I know. I
don't know if it's Matthew.
Beaver.
No, that is not.
Let's just call him Beaver.
No.
Or you could call him Anthony Michael Hall because he kind of looks like Anthony Michael Hall at that age. Okay. He looks like him though. So.
Jesus Christ.
What?
It is the guy who played the main boy in A Christmas Story.
You sure?
And his last name is Billingsley, and he was once related to Barbara Billingsley, the mother in Beaver. That's why Marco's saying that. But his father got a divorce. So, anyway.
Oh, that was necessary to the review. So, anyways, the story is, I was allowed to watch a lot of horror movies, the Puppet Master movies, a lot of full moon movies, Psycho movies, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But when it came to Chucky movies, Safi said, no!
This isn't a Chucky movie.
But that's one of them. And so,
what?
You were like, no! And I was like, why? And you're like, I heard something bad about them. I heard they had something bad.
I don't understand what he's talking about. I saw this movie. I didn't want to watch it.
Another instance was It. Stephen King's It. So there were a couple of movies that were like off limits for some bizarre reason. There was one called It. And the day that I wanted to watch it, you're like, I don't know. Maybe you can watch it. Let's ask someone else in the house. And you went upstairs and asked someone else in the house. And he didn't answer for like hours. But he finally answered and he said, no! Somebody commits suicide in it! Yeah! And so that was another one that I wasn't allowed to watch. And so this was one where I was really excited because I saw the trailer on a Puppet Master movie, and I saw it was rated R. And I was like, God, how bad could this movie be? It's about teenagers.
It's very short, too.
It's a teenage-oriented story. How bad could this movie be? And I got it from Hollywood Video. Safi watched it, and she said, no! There's something very, very bad in it. It's terrible. It's so awful. And years later, it's like, what was that? Somebody commits suicide in the movie. Wah!
It wasn't just that, because at the beginning of this movie, it actually starts out, this girl, the main girl, wakes up and she goes into the kitchen or goes into the living room and her mother has committed suicide. I mean, that's how it starts. I'm not giving the whole movie away by telling that. You don't see her do it. You see the done deal. Her head's cocked to the side there's blood on the wall and blood on her head, and she's holding a gun.
It's just very cheap looking. Like, wow, that's really, really disturbing.
And I was thinking, why did when I started watching it last night and today, I was like, well, why would I get so upset about that? Because it's already a done deal, and I was like, I don't understand. But then I continued to watch. In the scene that I was really uncomfortable, and I was still uncomfortable today, even though Marco is 24 years old. It's uncomfortable for me, actually. And
for me, I thought it was funny because it just looked.
I don't think it's funny.
It just looked kind of fake. Like, it didn't really look that realistic. It just looked like, wow, there's some fake blood.
Well, what happens is I'm not going to tell what all before and after, but what happens, she wakes up again, and she goes in there, and her mother comes and just sits down in that particular chair, and she said, "You tell me if something was wrong, Mom, wouldn't you?" Because she thinks she's still alive for some reason, even though she's way in the future and she goes, "I'm not alive, I'm dead," and blah, 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 they go on. And then she kills herself.
Yeah,
she shoots herself in the head.
It's really funny.
And she has a fit. And then she said, and then I'm going to do it to you. And she said some line. I couldn't even remember it because I didn't want to. I just didn't want to remember it anymore. And she shoots her daughter in the head, but not really. But she does, and she has a mark on her face. There's no blood, and she falls over.
It's just so hilarious that, like, this triggered Safi so much. Meanwhile, I saw a movie called Psycho 3 as a kid, and that movie had an attempted suicide scene that was, like, way worse than this, where, like, her arms were, like, slashed open and blood was, like, filling the tub. That was a lot more disturbing than this, honestly. So...
Well, I don't know what to say about that.
Very weird.
But it was very uncomfortable. And so anyway, now that is why I wouldn't let him watch it, because of that scene, not at the beginning. And because I was thinking, what's so bad about the beginning? It's nothing.
It was stupid.
But okay, well, maybe we should tell about the movie then.
Well, in general, it's a very good movie.
Yeah, we both enjoyed it. It's short, but it's a complete story. It has a build-up to a scene where you're fighting a bad guy, so to speak, in a different kind of way. And then you have the ending, which takes a lot of effort to get it resolved, but not too bad to where it's complicated or boring. And then you have the ending, and it's just pleasant. I don't know what it is about saying the word pleasant. I don't know.
It was pleasant because it was just a good movie with a good story. Some of the acting was fine, but it's funny because the main girl, she's terrible.
She's better in this movie, though, I think.
She's only there for her looks, honestly. But the thing that's funny is that, like, the game at one point, because this movie is all about an evil arcade game, a virtual reality, which was really cool. And Arcade says that she's a hollow shell of a person, and it's funny because it's like almost like it's an excuse for her bad acting that she's like a hollow shell of a person. So I thought that was funny.
Well, if this was a game, it just came out brand new, and they gave it away, home versions away free to the kids so they could try it, test it out. But they also had the unveiling of it in a special place called the arcade room or something. And then they had people come in, and they had them set up so you could play the game, and that's where the trouble starts. And there's something wrong with the game.
And the one thing I will say, there's one big thing that I guess you could explore in a sequel. If this happened for real, this company would be in deep doo-doo. Because like, all the kids who play the game, they all disappear and die. It's one thing for like a couple of people to disappear, like, that always happens. Like, sometimes Safi disappears and then she comes back and she's like, I was just doing this. But it's another thing for this entire group of people to disappear.
It's like this group of people, they're all friends, boys and girls, and but it isn't just them, it's anybody who plays the game. It has levels, and at the end you have a boss, and then you have things along the way that can trip you up and get rid of you, and any of that will kill you in real life. It comes through the game somehow, and that is, I said, and so the question is, how and why did the game go wrong?
It's too bad because they could have. There was this kind of explanation where I thought it could have worked, where it seemed like maybe kids will just kill themselves from playing the game and then losing or something.
Well, I think they said that too, or something.
But they said that, but then on the other hand, it seemed like every kid disappeared inside of the game, so it wasn't like they killed themselves too, or something.
One thing which I wondered about, but they very lightly said it, and then there wasn't much reaction. It's just she reacted, and he kind of did. But Billingsley and Megan Ward, they went to see the creator, and they said they told him there's a big problem with it, that people are disappearing, getting hurt, whatever, and he said. And they said, what did you do to the game? He said they inputted human brain cells into it. I have no idea how you would do that. That makes no sense to me. I didn't understand that at all. So I was thinking,
I just ignored that.
Well, I know, but it implied that was what went wrong with the game.
This company would be so screwed. Like, this would be like an infamous news story that, like, this company made a game that hurt kids, made them kill themselves, whatever, and it's really weird. It's like, if this actually happened, there would be real ramifications. Like, it wouldn't just be this like hoppity doody woody at the end thing where it's like, yay, we beat the game, yay.
It didn't look like there was going to be any way to beat the game. Because the person or entity inside the game would not allow for it, and that was what was wrong. And
it's funny because they said that the game was always changing the rules, but that was kind of like a lie, because they followed the rules and they beat the game. Like, she got all the keys, got through all the doors, and she beat the game. Like, she literally just followed the rules to beat it. Like, she didn't have to trick the game or something. So that whole thing about the game changing the rules all the time, it's like, not really. I mean, she got keys and she won.
Well, what saved her was she got an extra life, and you always see that in a game. You'll see, you'll get, you may have 5 maximum, and it goes down to 4, then 3, then 2, etc. Well, I just remember when she was playing it, that she got 1. That was it. Just 1 extra life, which is kind of weird for a game. You usually, like I said, get multiple.
Well, it was a simple game.
But also the creator came to the place, because what happened was...
No, that was the programmer, the creator the company. He was...
not him, no. The programmer came to and he brought his board and all this stuff, and he had given them schematics to the game, so they'd see their secret doors, and told them how many keys they had to get. And actually, it sounded really complicated, but then when you saw them playing it, and they showed it on a screen, because the Billingsley guy, he had been in the game with her, and he got knocked out, and the what do you call him? The creator of the game, he helped save him, And so they were watching her play the game. They showed the screen, and so it just looked really simple.
And there are a couple of things to wonder about. Number one, questions. Or just comments. Number one, it seemed at the end that the only reason that the game died, because they didn't say that, like, just because you accessed the game's heart that you could kill it, or that it died. They said that, you win the game, so you access the heart and can kill it. That doesn't mean that you are going to kill it. So what was funny was it seemed like the fact that the girl just played by the rules and got an extra life killed the game. Like, the game was so blown away by the fact that she just played by the rules. So that's what I thought was funny, was like, she got an extra life. Like, you didn't expect that. You didn't... This program that's so smart, it can adapt to anything. It didn't adapt to that and go, oh, well, now it's double time to fuck with you. So that was one thing.
Well, it was at the end, and the entity in the game thought he had killed her. I said the scene with the mother and put the gun to her head and looked like she shot her, but there wasn't really any blood or anything. It was just a mark. And then, but what flashes on the screen after that is extra life.
Oh, wow, we just talked about that.
I know that,
but the question is, why would the game be so surprised?
Well, he was. He was having a fit.
Why?
And no, this can't be. No, and going crazy. And
that was just kind of weird to me, but it still was cool. I mean, the movie was really, really good. I'm not criticizing. I'm just pointing these things out that are kind of funny to think about. Like, what about the programmer? Like, how did he play this game so many times without not getting killed? And then the main kid, the main boy, how did he play the game? Because he said, I played this game so many times. It's so awesome. How is it he played it all these times? Like, the game never acts like it was just fucking around with them and then finally he's going to kill them. It was just like, no, it's a game. They're playing it, like... So
it seemed like they as soon as they played it, they disappeared.
Other kids. It wasn't
any gradual thing where they played it 1,000 times. That was what they wanted them to be able to do, because they wanted them to spend the money and just stay glued to the TV. He even said that in the movie, the creator. And but what happened was this, I guess it was a glitch. They called it a glitch. That's what the guy said. That, I mean, they were just unveiling the game. And they started to play it, and her boyfriend, who was not Billingsley, it was this other boy, he disappeared right away as soon as he played it. I mean, he disappeared into the game. He was not sitting in his chair. And they couldn't find him. They didn't know what had happened. He was gone. There's this big search where everybody just says, he'll show up. I don't know what they thought where he went, but... And, I mean, it wasn't a gradual thing, so yeah, I don't know what that was about, what you're talking about. I have no idea.
I mean, the programmer, he's been in there a million times. I mean, he programmed it, you know.
And that probably took him a long time.
There's some things with that, but not really anything to be too concerned about, because, the whole movie, you're having fun. And there is real suspense at some points. There is real horror at some points. And emotion, and so it's kind of like a perfect little movie where it's like, this is one of those times where it's like, yeah, this is genuinely good, and it doesn't have any glaring issues like Oblivion 2, where the villains just disappear at the end, or Trancers 2, where it needed more action and needed to cut out the whole weird story with the drunk guy. It was pointless. It was like, this was perfect all the way through. I will say, too, though, that the main boy, he was a total, like, I don't know, both the main characters, when you think about the thing with their romance, because the main girl's boyfriend, he disappears and dies, at the beginning of the movie, and immediately after that, this girl's friend, he moves in on her, and then she gets over his disappearance really quick, and she gets with him. And I thought, like, that was one thing where I was like,
I didn't view it that way, but I just thought they were really good friends.
No.
Well,
they were together, Safi.
No, I agree.
I do. Oh, you can.
But maybe
watch
he
the
wanted
movie
to get
again.
together because he always kept giving her sidelong glances, like he would like to be with her.
Yeah,
That's
and
true, but not the other way though.
so if he got the transfers to Taco Bell meal, he would have chosen her, right?
I guess so.
Right?
I guess so.
He wouldn't want to choose Helen Hunt, the fried chicken taco. So, another thing would be, I guess, that, this movie, it did remind me a little bit of Tron at points, like, especially with how they're dressed up in these, like, kind of Tron outfits and stuff like that. And I kept saying, like, Safi, did you like this soft remake of Tron? And Safi was like, cut it out, Marco!
Well, that was
it's not Tron!
That was a huge movie that was all game. I mean, it was just totally all game, and they were, like, dressed like that all throughout the movie.
But that's not true. They're in the real world in that movie.
Not very much.
Or a little bit.
I didn't think it was anything like it at all.
And it's funny, too, because Safi, she thinks that she can speak for Tron. She thinks that she can talk about Tron.
Well,
like, she's a
remake,
Tron fan.
so.
But Safi has not seen the fucking Tron sequel. That is egregious. That is just something that is so terrible that I think it's worse than Nazis.
Oh my God!
Like,
Are
because
you out of your mind?
Because the Tron sequel was one of those movies that was hugely underrated, and it did not get a sequel to that immediately because nobody saw it except for smart people. And so, Safi really, she offended the Tron universe.
Oh,
and I've seen the sequel a million times, and I played the video game, the new video game that they released, and I played the computer game where you just do the light cycle game. Because I'm a Tron fan. Safi isn't. She thinks
I'm not talking about Tron.
She thinks.
Why don't you tell him why you brought that up?
Because this movie is a little reminiscent of Tron, a little bit. In fact, apparently, I love the trailer. The trailer has the original graphics of the game in the movie, and apparently Disney was going to sue Full Moon for ripping off Tron, and I just find it I just find it funny in general because, Full Moon, they're kind of known for ripping things off in a way where they're like, oh, that type of movie is doing well? Let's do a movie like that. Like, for instance, guess what movie they're making, Safi?
I don't know.
They're making a movie called Barbenheimer to capitalize off of
Barbie and Oppenheimer?
Yeah, they're making an actual movie called Barbenheimer.
I can't even imagine what that's going to be like.
Oh,
God.
That's the type of stuff that Full Moon Features does. That's what they're known for. I mean, there's many examples of this, and so it's funny because Charlie, the guy who's the head of Full Moon, with his crappy memoir where he didn't go into detail about anything interesting. He just talked about fucking screwing Demi Moore and weird shit like that. He went on this tirade on Facebook a couple of years ago or a year ago or something because there was this new movie that came out, and it kind of was a little bit similar to the poster for Dolls, which is the next movie that we're watching and reviewing. And he was like, this movie is ripping off Dolls! Wah! And people pointed out, like, full moon, that's what they do all the time. And just for instance, Barbenheimer, like, who the fuck cares about that? Like, nobody wants to see that.
No, they don't.
Corona zombies, like, just really cheap, like, shitty shit. And so, like, in this movie, it's just like, hey, let's make a movie like Tron.
But I don't think it's anything like it. But of course,
it is a little bit.
Marco said they did some changes, so I don't know what it originally looked like.
No, they did changes to the graphics, not the story.
Oh, but okay. Well, so as it is now, though, I don't see any resemblance except for their clothing that they wore to play the game, and that was it was two actors, and then it was one because the other actor got out of the game and was put out and saved by the creator somehow. And then it was just the girl all by herself.
I thought it was sad too because I really liked the original design for the arcade villain. It was like a giant skull, and it looked really, really cool. And I thought that was a tragedy because what arcade looks like the villain, it is kind of cheesy, but
it's not that good.
I love it still because it's like, look, there's movies like Spy Kids 3 where that movie looks way worse than this.
Oh yeah.
And it looks better than that, but like the arcade villain, he looks like what were those things called? The bio bots or the bio
bark boxes?
No, there were these action figures in the early 2000s.
Yeah, they still have those online.
They would advertise in front of, like, there was like a trailer in front of the Pirates of the Caribbean VHS, the first one, and it was like bio something. And this arcade thing, it looks exactly like those, and it just looks so like bad, but it looks bad in a good way. Like, this movie is so enjoyable, it's so fun, it's so the lighting is really cool and unique and colorful, and it's a great movie. Like, this is one of the best full moon movies that I've ever seen. So
oh yeah, and when the girl uses her life, I mean, the creator helped move it along somehow. But anyway, when she gets her extra life and it's used, all of the kids who disappeared, they come back.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they did.
I didn't see that.
Oh yeah, they all came back.
Oh.
And they all left the place together, and the creator's following him, and he stops and looks into the room, the arcade room.
Oh, but wait a second. What the fuck is going to happen with that girl and her boyfriend? Like, that boyfriend is going to realize that this fucking piece of shit with fucking sunglasses, Anthony Michael Hall looking motherfucker, he's moved in. I'm Megan Ward. And he's going to be pissed off. I disappeared into a video game for like a couple of days, and you moved on with this fucking nerdy little piece of shit, Anthony Michael Hall.
Okay, Marco. Well, anyway, but I guess the other thing we forgot to mention is during the game, it's near the end, she hears, help me, and it's this little boy, and she picks him out of the water. He was in the water, and she saves him, and she brings him aboard, and they're in this boat. And okay, so they continue on with the game, and then they do these other things, they have to escape these flying bad guys or something. And he tells her that he knew what to do. He had been playing the game, and he got knocked off into the water somehow, some water. And anyway, so they end up saved, and he's saved too, but it ends up that little boy is the bad guy in the game. And what happens at the very end?
That was cool. Another thing I really liked was how, like, another instance was two of her friends, they became like a part of the game.
Oh, that's
where,
right.
Where they
Seth
were
Green
like,
and another girl.
one of them told the truth and could help you get to the next level, and one of them was a liar. And of course, that fucking ginger redhead Seth Green, of course, they made the ginger the liar. Because we all know how Hollywood feels about people with red hair. And of course, they made them wear all black. They were just one step away from totally tokenizing that guy. So I thought that was funny, Safi. Well, they do that with all the redheads in Hollywood. They turn them black. It's
really?
disgusting.
Do you think they turned Jessica Chastain black?
No, I mean for established characters that are redheads.
She's a redhead.
She's not an established character.
She has many characters.
This is a known fact that in Hollywood, every single redhead character is tokenized and turned black. Little Mermaid, aka Lil Mermaid, April and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They made her ugly and black. Velma. Wait, she's not a redhead, but still, every single redhead character. And so it was so funny that they made the redhead Seth Green. They made him the liar. They made him the bad guy. And it's like, Seth Green is cool. Like, he's a cool guy.
Well, she had to figure out
that was sad.
If the liar was the liar and the girl was the truth teller. So she had to figure it out and she could ask them one question only. And by asking that question, she would have to determine from that who was telling the truth and who was telling a lie. So there was more to that than just, two people that she knew who were part of the game. So at the end, like all the kids are, after she gets her extra life, they're all saved. And then they all drop her off. She starts to walk towards the house, and the little boy's up there. Of course, the little boy's the bad guy. Yeah, he's up there didn't you watch the end? He's standing outside her front door and says something to her that, yeah, I'm here, BITCH or whatever or something. Because she asked about him when they were leaving. And she said, what about the bad guy? They have a name for him.
They call him Arcade.
Well, she said, does that mean he's out of the game? Like he got out of the game too with us?
Yeah.
And everybody just said, no, come on, that's silly.
That could have been the sequel. And they said that they did write a script for a sequel, but they never made it. And it's like, you guys made fucking 10,000 Puppet Master movies. You couldn't make Arcade 2. You couldn't make Oblivion 3. Like, it's terrible. It's like, God, I would much rather have Oblivion 3, Arcade 2, than have another bad Puppet Master movie where they shit all over that series. Because, I mean, every Puppet Master movie, basically, after the third one was bad. Kind of.
Well, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, with him showing up like that at her door, outside the door. I mean, he didn't look like the bad guy they show in this big monster person in the game. It was just back to the little boy that he's rescued out of the water.
We need to figure out what those things are, the bio something.
I don't know, but anyway, my review, I gave it a hot dog, a well-cooked hot dog with ketchup and mustard and relish. That was, it was something simple and good, and that fits in with nice watching a game, a football game, because football's back. We've already had the TV on for a million hours, and it's on right now, but not on the game. The Bengals and the Browns. And anyway, so that's what I gave it. So, I don't really eat hot dogs a lot, but it's a nice, sometimes it's just nice to have one, I guess, with those condiments. And that's adequate, and that's enough for me. And that's what the movie was, too. So, what was your food review?
Fuck. I'm trying to find those fucking
Why don't you
things.
say what your review is?
The bio things.
We'll sign off.
Your phone thing sucks.
It's hard to. You can't do it real quick. But it's better than falling apart.
So, I would rate the movie. I guess it's not going to work. Yeah, your phone sucks. It sucks everything. I would rate the movie, let's just continue along. I was originally gonna give this movie a whole pizza, like from the best pizza place ever, but then I realized that would sound very pedophiliac since this movie's about teenagers. So, even though the main girl is not a teenager when she made the movie, she's in her 20s. So...
Which is pretty amazing, because she looked very young.
I won't give it a whole pizza, because I know how that'll come off. Even though it really is like a whole pizza. Like, I could eat a whole pizza myself, especially DiGiorno's. In fact, DiGiorno's stuffed crust pepperoni pizza. I could eat the whole thing easily. That's really what this movie is, but I'm going to continue. Taco Bell has decided to continue promoting full moon movies because Taco Bell is doing it's moving places, and it's continuing on an upward trend, as they would say on the survey app. They say, how do you think this company is moving? Is it steady? Is it declining? Or is it on an upward trend? Well, Taco Bell has a fucking arcade meal. And what it is a Mexican pizza. But the box on top, it has like a little game that you can play with a pin or something, and it's like a maze, and it looks exactly like the game, and at the center of it is the bad guy Arcade. And so you can do a little maze on top of the Mexican pizza box where you get to Arcade and beat him. And so that's the movie. But then you get a little something extra because they remembered that Megan Ward is a beefy nacho cheese taco. So they have a little deal, a combo deal, where you can get a Megan Ward taco along with the Mexican pizza and a blueberry raspberry combo freeze where they mix two flavors together. That is this movie. It is a blueberry raspberry freeze with a Megan Ward taco and an arcade Mexican pizza. Beat that, Safi. And on top of that, they decided, let's give them some toys because fuck it. So they give you a little toy. It's a little tiny game. It's a little handheld game that you can play and you can beat Arcade. And it's funny to mention that because, Safi, remember the whole handheld game story?
Yeah.
Oh, remember the thing with the McDonald's games where I stole a bunch of them?
What are you talking about?
Oh,
you never stole anything.
Yeah, I did. There's this one time where McDonald's had these stupid little games. I don't even know what you did on them. They were so stupid and dumb, like everything that McDonald's puts out.
That's not true, Marco.
Well, now, they used to have cool toys, but now they have trash.
No, they're not very good.
Now they're cheap and trash, just like certain movies, like
Okay, just move on.
Oh, so I have one of them, but then we were at this park that was across from McDonald's, and there was this group of kids, and they all had games, and so what I did was I distracted them, and I made them think that that someone stole my game. And so they were looking all around the park for somebody who stole my game system. Like they were going to beat this person up. And so then while they were distracted, they all put their game systems down and I stole all their game systems.
What are you talking about?
And the little stupid toys from the Happy Meal at McDonald's, I stole all their toys. And then I pretended like the same person who stole my toy stole their toys.
That's stupid. I can't believe you would do something like that.
And then I took them all home and I destroyed them. And I threw them in the trash.
I don't know why you're laughing. That's evil.
It was hilarious because they believed that like some magical invisible person stole their toys.
I don't like that. I can't believe you could do something like that.
But then there was another time where I was falsely accused of stealing a game system.
Why would you even bring that up?
There was this handicapped kid in school, and he was just fucking stupid and dumb, and he always got into trouble. He was known as, like, he had a temper issue, and, you know, he was a real piece of shit. And so this one day at the end of school, I talked to him in the hallway. I even gave him some bubble gum to be nice. And for the next couple of months, I was, like, grilled and interrogated by the school for supposedly stealing his Nintendo DSi, which I didn't steal at all.
He would never do that because if he wanted something like that, we would have just bought it.
Yeah, I would have just gotten it. So the whole thing was stupid. Just because I talked to him one day after school, I was falsely accused of stealing his stupid game system. And so, like, that was the lesson. Like, never talk to that fucker again. Because if you talk to him, you'll get falsely accused of something.
And what happened was, he rode the bus and he probably left it on the bus, and then some other kid took it.
Yeah.
Because it was sitting there on the seat, and they just picked it up. Why not? I mean, both of my sons had stuff taken all the time. I had another son, the other son, who just turned 35. He had his pencil cases. I think this happened to Marco too. His pencil cases were constantly stolen.
Well, yeah, in band class, it was notorious that people would steal, and so I had a pencil pouch, full pencil pouch, stolen twice out of my backpack. And then it was funny too because at the last day of 6th grade English reading class, one kid, Austin, he had his a new box of markers stolen, and so he told the teacher, and the teacher like stopped the movie, and he just yelled at the whole class for the whole period, like we stole his markers. But as it turns out, you know, probably the likely story is that, you know, he had band class too. So the likely story is that they got stolen in band class. So that was funny.
Yeah, so I don't know why Mark was bringing all this crap
No, because
up.
we were talking, because it's about game systems. I was talking about game
now.
systems. Like the McDonald's Happy Meal toys.
Okay. Well, so...
Well, they could have gotten them the next day anyway. They weren't, like, expensive things that you couldn't get anymore.
Oh, my God.
They were, like, stupid little toys. They only had one level. They were trash.
Okay, Marco. So, if you like this video, you want to hear all this extra stuff that's...
Well, it's fun.
I don't think so.
Wouldn't Safi like to hear more funny stories?
No, I don't.
Why?
Anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and become one of our subscribers. Did you see this movie?
And one time I had a game system stolen out of the house by these fucking redneck kids. These redneck kids. They came inside the house while I was at school, and Safi said, I heard all these noises around, and they were in the house, and they stole my PSP and games and took it.
They climbed up on a ladder that was left outside to the second floor, which is where Marco was.
Yeah.
His bedroom was. You could climb up there, and they had a long time, many years before, they had put an addition on the back of the house that was like a laundry room, although you could never use it because it wasn't insulated, and everything would have gotten frozen. We used it for storage and for the cat to use the litter pan. And it had a back door so you go outside. But anyway, a ladder was left there by either Marco or his father, and they climbed up the ladder and went into his bedroom, opened the window in his bedroom. And
but no, they came downstairs because the PSP was in the living room, so they came downstairs and got it out of the living room. And they could have then let themselves out the front door. And what Safi did was even worse, though, because, obviously that's a situation where the police should be called and those kids should be beaten senseless.
For heaven's sake.
Well, that's what I would have done if those kids came back. I would have totally gotten in big trouble because they deserved it. And for coming to my territory. And so, but Safi, all she did was go over there and tell the mother, because it was a single mother, of course. And
Don't say that.
And Safi said, we're going to call the police unless these little pieces of shit give back the things that they stole. And they never gave back anything. They never gave back anything they stole. And then Safi never called the police. So they just got away with it like it was no big deal.
Well, I didn't know that they climbed up into the... Well, never mind. I just don't even know why he's bringing all this crap
because it was
up.
A game system and it was
we
stolen.
Don't need to talk anymore.
We're talking about games and game systems.
Okay, well, let's not talk anymore about.
Let's
finish the video. So
we never do videos about video games or video game movies. This is our only time.
Okay, well that's it. Okay, so if you have seen this movie, go ahead and let us know what you thought about it. Do you agree? And just be aware, though, if you're disturbed by a suicide scene, it's not that big of a deal. But it was
the Safi.
It was still. It's still today.
She has nightmares about
disturbing. No, I didn't.
You do.
So disturbing to me. So it might be disturbing to somebody else.
Look, now she's really upset.
Especially when you know that several people have committed suicide.
Oh, I don't.
It isn't a joke.
I don't.
Well, it isn't a joke. So anyway, goodbye, everybody.
What about the like and subscribe?
I already did that.
Oh, bye.